Hello, beautiful people. How's it going? We are still in the month of December. I hope you guys are having a good holiday, considering, or I should say, me considering having being able to have a good holiday since we got that Christmas gift of my dad having a cardiac arrest event. Very scary. I am not going to talk about that specifically right now, first off, because I wanted to talk about how I have been waiting again, procrastinating, because I want to decide, or I'm deciding on how I want to lay out this whole Alabama trip. And so, just to speed you up here, the show, I didn't title the collection yet. I just wanted to make a casual recording, and that one was called Humor After Cardiac Arrest Events. And if you haven't listened to that yet, that's just me kind of talking about how we were dealing with everything after it happened. And yes, we could have definitely, most definitely had the scare that you hear where basically the ambo comes too late, and then it's just too late, right? And the person passes. And actually, that happened with the previous owner of my house just earlier this year. So I'll just give you that bit there before I go into this. So basically, I am going to be documenting my journey, and I'm going to do a little series. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do it in the form of storytelling, with the before and after mindsets, or if I just kind of wanna, I feel like I just want to share the story without thinking too much, like about, okay, what to learn from this, how to stay positive and all of that, which I would love to talk about, and what made it a better experience because of the hospital staff and things like that I feel like I need to share with the world, right? Because that it's very unusual to have like an entire group of people help us. For this very casual episode, I did take a couple of little notes where, again, I could go into the whole lessons thing, same thing, kind of like what I do. I don't give enough examples to you guys of before and afters, and I keep promising to do that. I don't, I think really I keep delaying that, is just I would really have to sit down and really like dig deep. There's lots of examples. It's just which ones I want to share with you. Okay, so that's what's going on there, and I'm going to try to not procrastinate the series. I want to be fresh in my mind. So hopefully I'll do it. I will plan to be doing it in the coming week of like early January. So today, one of the best parts that I wanted to report back to you, I got to give you a little bit of background, but the best part, bottom line of this part of the story regards my sister. And yes, it brought her down here. She drove 17 hours from New York to be with us. And my dad, she was going like 110. We're laughing. Um, just just the fact in her car that she loves, and I don't know, laughing about it anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna speed you guys up to the stories, that the positiveness out of all of this. um, we haven't seen each other in about a year, but I think the reason of why things might be changing in her life, it really is divine timing. Just because I've talked to her about stuff for years, and I feel like I wasn't sure that I was getting through. I feel like I was just running my mouth a lot. Like, is she even listening to me, right? Okay, so I haven't talked about her that much specifically. We are like 20 some years apart. Okay, and she is from my dad's wife, number three. So who is Thai. So is my mom Thai, Filipino. That's another story. The second one that he would have stayed with had there not been some things going on with her stepdaughter. Wife number three, which is my sister's mom, and then number four, who I've done a show on with lovely Joy Laguna. They don't have any kids together. Okay, so I really was, while I met my sister when, in her earlier years, in toddler years, I really didn't know what it was going to be down the road for us, because even at 9, I was just seeing patterns in her where I was like, whether she's acting spoiled or I'm not, um, didn't see the way that she was being like disciplined very well, or whatever it is. So the point of the story, I didn't end up coming to Alabama for a very long time. Um, and so we never really got close. We never really, yeah, got close at all. And so it was very disappointing to me. And so she ended up moving with her mom to New York. I think she said about 14 or 15. And to make a long story short, and also kind of keep things kind of private, um, I have my basically long story of it is that I I know that her mother changed as a result of coming to this country, kind of the same thing that happened with my mom. And a result of her changing, I would not say it was for the positive. So my sister went a lot, emotionally and everything, between the ages of 15 and like 19. So basically, she did not and was not fortunate enough to have a great stepmom like I did growing up. And so, while my stepmom at the time, uh, we weren't super close, but I would say that was a perfect example of holding space. And I was pretty bratty in the beginning. So, just to speed you up, guys, there is that we kind of walked the similar journey with each of our moms. And without getting too deep in there, is that we have both felt specifically kind of like the same rejection type issues regarding worth. I actually never ended up getting, I call it professional therapy, like talk therapy or any sort of therapy. So I did not actually find my way to personal growth stuff until I was about like 23. I was reading different books and different things and very much into Buddhism as a teenager, but I wouldn't say like I really, really like actually becoming social and running my own business, like how much it ended up helping me is really how I started to grow. And then I started different avenues that were not, specific to talk therapy. And it was more specific to holistic therapies. And because at that time, music was my only therapy, but I still had a lot of hatred and things for the world, right? And my core issues of dealing with my mom were abandonment, different things. But my dad is actually where started a lot of the dramatics of the rejection. And that's why I've talked about the wanting to run away and die. And, not that I not ever going through with killing myself, but basically those temporary moments of feeling like that. And so I don't mind sharing those things. I just think it's very interesting at such a young age wanting to do that, as a result of a parent, treating you like that, being called stupid all the time. So that was from about the age 12. So why this is such a big deal is that, um, it's never been nagging, it's never been anything. It's more so storytelling that I've talked to my sister about these different things. And I've told her what works for me. And I've tried to tell her about natural methods. And just kind of our energy was off because I really don't know that it's kind of like also a processing, right? If somebody's the way they process information while she's really smart. Um, I don't know that she was understanding or comprehending, I guess, what I was trying to tell her about things. So I knew, and she was really busy. So it didn't feel like there were opportunities to get to know each other, especially when I was always like feeling like I'm exhausting myself, like trying to reach out. So that's why people, 2024, 2024, this is a very, very big deal. Like, this is big time. So not only do I feel like she has said, yeah, different things work for different people, I don't think she ever had found her way. And so she's 24 now, and we talked again. And a huge component that I wanted to address, especially in knowing that it seems like things weren't getting through to her. I'm like, why don't you try this? There's this and this and this. And there are things outside of prescription drugs and love. So she has actually found somebody. So this is a little bit right in my hesitation of kind of like, this is a second person that she's kind of wanted to marry immediately. And I'm not going to go into their personal business, but I try to keep privacy in certain areas of my life. And I know she would be totally fine with me talking about her. She would just want to know what it's about. So I won't go into the details of all of that other than saying finding love, which I think it is the real love. She knows what's real love is. That when you are in these situations of feeling so rejected and alone and all these sorts of things, right? Self-worth issues, when you find true love, like really, really true love, that's for another episode, because this helped me, is that sometimes that's all that's needed to get through, being loved like that. So this person just may be so, I don't want to say good for her, but the fact of him being present, right? So we were talking about how when she talks to people, she asks them, do you want me to listen to you? Do you want me to give advice? Like, what do you need from me? I forget the third one was, and I love that. Um, so just that she has a place and somebody is available to her. Um, I'm not going to get into attachment style relationships, but I totally know what that's like. And I just want to inform her. Again, she's going to have to learn in her own way as the relationship goes and different things like that. But first and foremost, so I wanted to say it's possible that I'm getting through because number one, she has somebody who loves and cares for her. Number two, that it's just timing, that she's actually going to listen to me. But also when she listens, I'm going to penetrate, right? I'm going to penetrate that barrier or block or whatever it is that was not getting through before. And this is the part I want to bring up about patience with other people, patience with their journey. Um, I was getting more impatient because I'm very strong about my beliefs and I know that they have worked for me and can work for others, and I'm not the only one doing it. I just have these little formulas. Okay, so I'm not going to run my mouth too much more in this episode, other than I want to say that was a great positive thing. I know moving forward, I think she is going to be consistent, especially with her schedule. And she came down here from military police. So we will see what happens with that in the coming year. But four things happened today because I told her that I was telling her about paying attention to negative words every time it's that she speaks and flipping that switch, whether it is starts with words, seems to be easier, right? The use of can't, it's too hard. Pay attention to how many times you use that, but the point is to stop yourself from doing that, right? To flip it to the positive. And it's annoying. But it's reprogramming, right? We are reprogramming our brains to think and do differently. I've said this before. If you don't program your brain, somebody else will, right? So, four things happened today on our drive home, and she just casually brought it up as that she called me and said, I know you'd say this is meant to be and the odds of this happening, so I have to share it with you. So basically, she stopped at this is about belief. I am helping you all, I guess, learn to believe, how to believe, right? You could hear my stories and whatever it is, and you still don't believe them. You might think that's cool, that's weird, whatever it is, right? Um, and that's where it stops. But I'm going to give you a little bit of the formula here when I say, recognizing your speech. Okay, so I don't know what she was thinking or anything like that this morning. I just know that something worked because this happened. So she stopped at a gas station and started talking to a guy in line. They started talking to each other, I guess as he was in his mid or late 40s. And he asked her where she was headed and to New York. But she had also said, she was just in Alabama. And he's like, no, really? So he had come from southern Alabama, and I guess she said he had dog tags on, so they started talking about military stuff, and she found out he used to be in the Navy, and that I think he as well was going up to New York, or he had been there, or Fort Bragg. Is it Fort Bragg where she is? Sorry if I messed that up. Anyway, she's stationed in New York, and I could be totally getting that wrong. I'm sorry if maybe that's the one place that's in California, but anyway, it's the base in New York, and I don't know that there's more than one. Sorry, people. So that happened, and she's like, I just had to tell you that because you're just gonna say that it was meant to be, and all of the people I could run into, and I'm all exactly right. I'm like, okay, so call me to tell me what else happens today. Second thing is she stopped at a rest stop and she napped for 2 hours and she saw a sign that was dedicated specifically to military. Maybe, yes, they could be all over the place, but her at the odds of stopping at that. And then, so that resonated with her. And she ended up telling somebody she saw there, I guess, at the rest stop that she liked their dogs and because she loves animals. And she walked to the bathroom, and some lady ended up telling her that she liked her pants. And I said, why, that was not a coincidence and meant to be. I was like, it's not like that lady heard you say that to those dogs. You were totally away from each other, right? And she's like, yes. Okay, so I was like, okay, example number two. Third call, she tells me about her dream that she had for 2 hours. And I told her, okay, well, it was about like a car accident and flooding, and all the family members like were just involved in the scene of like, it was very detailed. And I said, okay, well, usually you should start writing down your dreams, whatever's going on in there specifically. It's not usually what that thing is. Like, if you think very superficially, you'd be like, oh, does that mean something's going to happen to my car? Does it mean something's going on with my family? And I just broke it down to probably fear-based thinking of not knowing what's going to happen, because she did tell me in there she doesn't know what's going to happen. So I think for her future, this is like a prediction of inner fears, right? Okay, if you're following me. So last component is that we talked again at the end of her trip, and she said that there was a truck ahead of her that basically started swerving a little bit, or coasting into the other lane in front of her, like she had to swerve out of the way, and she couldn't tell if he was drunk or he was just tired. And I said, boom, okay. Third example of, because I told her after she told me her dream, don't focus on that bad thinking. Okay, so I already just used that word don't. There's another word I want to replace with it, but I can never think of what it is because it's something with your, again, like a negative, like instead of don't, I can't think of it right now, people, sorry. It's something to replace saying don't think like that, because you want to tell your brain don't. It's like it does the opposite. I'm sorry, I'm not an expert at explaining this, but basically, I was basically trying to tell her not to focus on it, right? Don't even put any thought into that negative thinking. And so this is just an example of, it didn't mean, she was going to have a car accident in order to have this number three example, but it's what you think about, you bring about. So basically, she had the dream. We talked about cars and an accident or something on the road or whatever it was, and boom, it appeared. A situation. Okay, everything is fine. She said if she had noticed it sooner or something like that, she would have called in on it. But this is why I told her this is fun. It's like a game, and it's like, what else can you do? So she is going to report back to me. I think now she's caught on and she's seen some things, and we're just going to keep rolling with this, right? So, my beautiful people, the recommendation, I've mentioned this before. You may have not listened to me before, but this is about beliefs. This is about how you can change the way you think. and you can make magic happen in your life, whatever you want. Okay, so there's different ways to do this, and this is just step number one of watching your language and believing and trusting what I say. Okay, I am not here to steer you wrong. Okay, a lot of people are doing this. If you go back and read, watch The Secret, Law of Attraction, but I just have my own different types of formula of everything that I've trained in and also learned intuitively, right? So if you don't know what that word is, everybody is intuitive and a little bit psychic. Just a lot of people ignore the gut feeling, right? Okay, so we are at 20 minutes. I'm going to stop right now. I wanted to have this casual talk with you all. Also, update you on what's going on with my dad, and he's having a okay recovery, just kind of shaky, weak in the legs, and funny going home story, which I won't get into. Maybe I will share that another day. It's just basically like an emergency emergency shitting story that I was laughing my ass off, and that can be a very what do you call it, embarrassing experience for people, and just hearing about like old people in these sorts of situations that a lot of people don't want to be in, but it was hilarious. So, beautiful people, the walkaway is don't give up on any of this. If you feel like it's not working and you want to know why it's working, it's probably the timing. You are not putting the intention, the positive intention, and the belief into whatever it is that you are wanting to work on. It could be as simple as there will be a parking space for me. I've done it with they will have a lip gloss for me. There will be a short line. I'll have somebody compassionate on the phone with me. Um, there's so many things that you can do this with, okay? Make it a game, make it fun, and watch what happens, okay? And that's about it for now. I will work on my series, and I just need to figure out how I want to do it. I really kind of want to give it in a storytelling format, but I don't know really if I want to do it like that. Okay, so have a good holiday, and I will meet you in the video. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast. And yes, I feel blessed, 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 um, for my sister and for myself, and hopefully it is time, and finding love and advocating love, and blessed that this person has come into our life. Whether to say, I want to say I don't think it's going to be short-lived, but I'm just saying she's going to learn regardless. And it really helps too that he's older than her. So we will see how this all goes, folks. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.